Welcome to today's Sticky Learning Lunch with me, Nathan Simmonds. Just the last couple of people coming into the room now. And we're just going to get them in and then we are going to crack on because we've got some core content to cover. We're going to carry on the theme of yesterday around procrastination. We're going to dive even deeper into those 7 excuses that, these words that we use to validate why we don't do things. And then boil those down to the core values and core fears that we display that often come up and trigger these excuses. And when you understand this and get it right down to its root cause, it's going to enable you to take better actions, more considered approaches to things, and help to eliminate those things off your to-do list. So let's get everyone in the room. He says, where's my mouse gone? There it is. Welcome to today's Sticky Learning. Hello, Andressa, good to see you again. Colin, Darren, Fabienne, thank you. Gareth, good to see you again. Gina, Howard, Karen, Lynn, nice to see you. Petra, thank you for being here. Ramala and Tim, handful of more people, handful more coming in. First things first, as always, let's get the phones on flight mode, zero the distraction, 100% attention on where you're going today and what you're doing. And this is about investing your time in you to make you more incredible than yesterday. That's what we came here for. So, phones off, fresh sheet, fresh thinking. At the top of that page in your notepad, you're going to write keepers. As I always say, it's about things that you hear, things that you learn today that you want to keep hold of, that you want to remember, reignite, and help to kind of reimagine and reinvigorate the thinking. As you reread those notes, new ideas percolate to the surface. So you can come up with new ideas, new actions, and new thoughts that are going to help you deliver even better result. Also, making sure you've got a drink. It's getting warmer over here, wherever you are on the planet, on the globe at this point in time, making sure you've got a drink and you're ready for this. We're in. Welcome to today's Sticky Learning Lunch with me, Nathan Simmonds, Senior Leadership Coach and Trainer for MBM, Making Business Matter, the home of Sticky Learning. And these sessions are all about helping you be the best version of you in the work that you're doing right now, and if you're returning back to the office for that return as well. We are the leadership development and soft skills provider to the grocery and manufacturing industry. And I want to give you some of the skills up here that I've learned in 23 years of leadership. And the last 9, maybe 10 years now of coaching leaders and developing leaders, and share some of this content with you just to help push that thinking further. Where are we today? Someone's already told me how they're feeling on a scale of 10. Obviously a 7.5 is pretty good. How are we feeling today? First question is, how are we feeling today? 1 being terrible, 10 being phenomenal. How are we feeling on a sliding scale? What's going on for us? How are we feeling right now? Got 9s, we've got a 6. Okay, we're going to work on that today. Got 9s, 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 up for it. Good. 7. We've got a couple of 6s. Weather has brought the score down. Oh, well, let's lift this score up. Yesterday, when we talked about this, I also said, what's the one small action you can take today that's going to create impact on something that needs to be on your to-do list or that you haven't ticked off of your to-do list? What's that one small action? Let me know in the questions box again. What was that one small action you said you would do yesterday to take action on that thing that you've been procrastinating on about? What was the one small action? I'll wait for those coming because that's going to require a little bit more typing than just a number. Called a tax man. Nice. What did you call him? Admit I'm a procrastinator, paid up member of PA. I need to ask myself the why behind my lack of action on the same topics. Good. Called him a git. Delivered bad news. If it was necessary, it was necessary. Focus on the one thing at a time. Absolutely. Your brain cannot focus on more than one thing at a time. And there are optical illusions that, that can show you this, just even in the physical. Scientifically proven that multitasking doesn't exist. Just do the one thing. Focus on that. Get it done phenomenally well. Move on. Good. We've got some stuff up there. So what are we covering now then? Yesterday we looked at the 7 excuses. I've got them listed down here. I'm not going to go through those in too much depth. The first one, it's easy, so we don't bother doing it. We find it's maybe beneath us, or it's just too easy to go and do something else. No, we fear failure, and we're going to talk a bit more about fears today. So rather than actually taking action on it, we procrastinate and leave it for as late as possible in case that, because we think we might produce a substandard quality of product at the end. But then what we do is we cut ourselves off at the very last minute and produce a substandard product anyway because we didn't give ourselves enough time to do it. It's boring. Quite frankly, we'd rather do something else because that's less interesting. Need for certainty we've got down here as well. Now, we can guarantee certain actions and certain outcomes, so we do them instead of doing the thing that might be a bit more difficult. We've also got here enjoy pressure. So sometimes some of us lead it to the last minute just because we enjoy the thrill of being under pressure, but actually that has a detrimental impact on our health mentally and physically. Doing all-nighters, drinking too much coffee, doing these sorts of things. We don't want to take the responsibility. So we'd rather leave it for as long as possible and get someone else to make the decision so we don't have to take that responsibility. And if we don't like it, we can blame somebody else. And then finally, we think tomorrow's going to be easier. We think the future version of us will do it easier. So we're going to leave it to tomorrow rather than doing it today. But then we go back to the top of the loop where, well, maybe it's just too easy, so I won't bother doing it. And we go back into a cycle of the 7 excuses. Right, that was the headlines from yesterday. If you didn't see it, that was the kind of the catch-all there. What are we going to be covering today? Right now, we're going to be looking at the 4 human needs and looking at the 2 fears that go alongside this. So we've got about 15 minutes to do this. The first need is the need for certainty. So the need for certainty is creating stability, creating security. I need to know where my house is. I need to know where money's coming from to pay the bills. I need to know where food is. I need to know where my family are. I need to know that they're supported. So these are your core certainties, your core securities. Well, on the other side of this, we also have the need for uncertainty. And what that means is, we want a certain amount of novelty. We want a certain amount of different things to be happening in our lives. We want stimulus. We want things to be exciting occasionally. Why? Because if we go too much this way, life becomes boring. Now, we look for security. We want everything to be just so, and we spend all our time trying to put things into compartments to make sure that we mitigate all the risks and everything. Now, there is no gamble, and we know full well that if I do this, I get this as a result. But the challenge is that if we go too far this way, the moment that we have a curveball come in, all the toys come out of the pram. We know that we have no flexibility because we spend all our time over here trying to balance it all and make sure everything's going to work exactly how it's meant to work. And the moment that something blows in from a different direction, everything goes into crisis. How many people have got people in their lives right now that absolutely have to know 100% exactly what's going on all of the time? And the moment you give them, and this happens at varying times when pressure is really high. I'm going to talk about this in mental health, having your stress pot, your stress tank. And when your stress tank gets full, my wife could ask me for a cup of tea and I will erupt. But it's just a cup of tea. It was the same cup of tea as it was yesterday, only fresher. But because of all the other stuff going on, it causes me to explode. But as a human need, we all need a certain amount of security. If we go too far the other way and we're living in constant uncertainty, this is where they talk about the VUCA in military terms: volatile, uncertain. I forget the other part of it. Challenging or whatever, critical crisis situations. If we're constantly living in this space over here, what happens is our brains tend to go into overload again. Because we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's happened. We have no stability. When we're working in this space, and when you look at the 7 excuses, the need for certainty, it's too boring, the thrill of leaving it to the last minute, you can start to see how these values actually start to turn into our excuses. On the other side of this equation, you've got the need for significance. Make sure I'm spelling it right. So up the top here, you've got the need for significance. And again, when you're looking at kind of uncertainty, it's, well, I'm going to do this because I know how to do it and I know how to do it well. So I'm not going to do the other things that maybe make me look bad or make me look inferior. On the other side of this, though, he says, is love and connection. Sometimes, though, when we're talking about business ideas and business thinking, what you might find is it may not be love and connection is the words that people use inside business. It may be friendship. It may be acknowledgement. When we boil it down to the human needs and the human values, this is the love and connection. So what happens is when you're looking at these excuses, now they start to boil up into these things. What you find in kind of, let me go a step back 2 seconds. When you find that people go too far this way, they start to limit the love and connection they have at work. How many people here, yes or no, have heard someone say in their organisation, in their career, I'm not here to make friends, I'm here to get a job done? Who's heard this before? Yes, lots. Who was that? Many times, hands up. Absolutely. Why? Because we want to go to this place of significance to prove that we're good at something. Yeah, we want to go to the significance. We want to get this job done. We want to make it efficient, and I want to make sure there's certainty. So I'm going to do it my way. And if it upsets people, I don't care. But then on the other side, you see people at work that just do absolutely everything they're told to do. And they would rather give everyone else the accolades or give everyone, give other people significance just to make sure that they get some sort of acknowledgement or appreciation in that social group. Does this make sense to everyone? Everyone see how this kind of relates to the procrastination, or starting to see how this relates? We're going to get a bit clearer on this in just 2 seconds. Good. By the way, this isn't just business related, this is also personal related, and to your own psyche and all those sorts of things and all the relationships that we deal with on a daily basis. So this need for certainty and uncertainty. I learned this of a gentleman called Peter Sage, who was one of the trainers for Tony Robbins. And Tony Robbins' quote on this is, the quality of your life is in direct proportion to the level of uncertainty that you can comfortably manage. So the more you can go over here and not feel pressure, the more wonderful your life will be, because things will come in from left field all the time, and that's called life, and you'll be able to deal with it. All the time you're up here trying to get significance though, and you're losing love and connection, so you're losing relationships. But all the time you go down here, a lot of people go down to love and connection and they will give up their significance. And we see this in significant relationships and partnerships in business and in life and love, where people think they can't be significant in a relationship in order to get love and connection. And what happens is when we're on this seesaw doing this, trying to balance everything out in our own head space. So when you talk about the balances, talk about work-life balance, in truth, it's a misnomer, because a work-life balance, anything to be balanced means that it's not going to move. So we spend our life on these two seesaws trying to get everything to level out and to make sure everything stops, so everything can just be happy and comfortable. But in truth, nothing in nature is certain. No, there is no security. You can ask, you look at the trees. Does a tree worry about which way the wind's going to blow? And then the answer is no. It just does what it needs to do. It lets the wind blow. It grows. If the wind blows it over, it will find another way to grow, but it will still carry on planting acorns. So when we have, so bringing it back into this procrastination piece, when we understand where we are on this map in these quadrants, we can then start to understand, okay, well, how are we responding? How are we reacting to certain things? What words are we then using to validate the excuses we're making about not taking certain actions? Is it because I want certainty? Is it because I crave uncertainty? But then what happens is, let's see where I've got room to write this on. When we get caught up in these things and we're swinging from certainty to uncertainty and this need for love and connection and giving up significance, what happens is when we start to boil up and our fears start to come up. So we've done the 4 human needs and then we have the 2 fears. The first fear is the fear of not enough. The fear of not being rich enough, of not qualified enough. And I will get a link for you very shortly, Diane, about where you can read more about this. The fear of not enough, fear of not rich enough, tall enough, black enough, white enough, whatever, rich enough, intelligent enough, network, resourced enough, all of these things. And what we do is, wherever we're sitting on here, we start to make this excuse up. It's like, well, I won't do that because I'm not qualified enough. Yeah, I won't do that. I won't take that action because I'm not skilled enough, resourced enough, in the right position, rich enough. So these excuses that we came up with yesterday, when we boil it down, just boils down into these 2 fears, depending on where we sit in here. The second fear is the fear of losing love. And again, depends on your language, where you are in the business you work in and how you think about this. Will I lose respect from that person? If I go for that job and I get it, will people think less of me that I used to work with if I do? If I go for that job and I don't get it, will my wife think less of me because I failed at the interview? So I won't do it. So this fear of losing love, now we've got here is need for certainty, fear of failure. We don't want to take the responsibility. Well, if I make that choice, will my peers, will my manager think less of me? Will I lose their respect? So we start to hold ourselves back, and again, these excuses start to come up. These fears here are learned, by the way. There are only 4 fears in truth. 2 we're born with and 2 we learn. Now the first 2 is the fear of falling and the fear of loud noises. And you're born with these because it would take you a long time to learn these experiences the moment that you're born. But evolution has coded that into your genetic level, into your DNA, so that when you're born, you instantly have a fear of falling and of loud noises, because that's what's going to help you stay alive. 200,000 years or so of evolution of us as a species is kind of put that in there to make it easier. These 2 here, though, we learn. And these are the foundations of conditional love, and we learn them at a very young age. Anywhere between kind of 2 and 4 years old, we start to learn these habits. So we start to learn to procrastinate. As I said, procrastination is a mechanism that's keeping you alive, and its nature is a wonderful thing. When you overlay it, though, with some of the stuff that we learn here, you can start to see how your brain is wired for the negative. And when you have these needs and fears incorporated, it's very easy to get caught up into a procrastination loop, which then enables you to come up with the excuses rather than take the action. Because your brain is always looking for the negative. Your brain is playing tricks on you. And as I said yesterday, time and time again, your brain is playing tricks on you. So you have to learn how to play tricks on it back in order to take the action you need to take. 4 human needs, 2 fears. Hope this is useful. And I've just dumped a load of information at you. I'm just conscious of time. We're kind of at the time limit now for content. What has been useful from this in conjunction with yesterday, with some of your thinking? What's been useful so far? You know what? I'm going to go dark. You don't get to see all my sunny radiance. So we've got certainty, uncertainty, significance, love and connection. Good. The model, understanding of where I am on the scale, absolutely. And you will sit, depending, you know, if you look at entrepreneurs, like big time entrepreneurs, or, you know, then they have a need for uncertainty, they love risk, you know, gambling, and they also have a need for significance. So I'm going to do this because it's high risk, and then when I succeed, it's going to make me look good. So they tend to sit up here. And other people just have this need for certainty and love and connection. And actually, on a really dramatic scale, often when you look at this need for certainty, if you look at people that are in abusive relationships, even domestic violence, they have a need for certainty and love and connection. So they give up their significance in order to get the love and connection. And then they have the same relationship with different people because they know exactly what they're going to get. They know if they say X, Y, and Z, they're going to get A, B, and C. So it's really important, you know, just understanding where you are on this scale. Neither is right or wrong. All humans have these needs, these 4 needs. How we learn to balance them and how we learn to move them, though, and how we start to get a bit of an understanding is something we're going to plug into a little bit tomorrow when we've got a bit more time. So we're going to look at that, and then we're going to look at the model that's going to help you take action on your procrastination. So it's a really handy model just to see where you are and just start to flexing things up. Understanding where I am on the scale, great. Liked more about the needs and fears, good. Relation between positioning and fears, yes. Simple explanation of needs and fears, splendid. Like I say, tomorrow what we do, because as I was saying, we have this, where we sit on here, then helps us to incorporate the fear that comes up, and then we can start, you know, we've already started to pick at the top level what the excuses that we're making and the common ones we're using in certain situations. This is starting to help you understand where it's coming from, because when these fears come up, the symptom is procrastination. When you can see the symptom, you can take action. If you go to the doctor and the doctor says, and you say to the doctor, I've got no symptoms, what's he going to prescribe you? Nothing, because you haven't got the symptoms. What you really know, over the course of time, you may have realized or you've got used to the pains and sensations, and your body's adapted, and, you know, whatever. So you haven't got any symptoms, but actually your spine's out of alignment. Something doesn't, you know, isn't right if you compare it to other people physically. But then when you can, you know, your procrastination and the things you said you would do or wouldn't do, that's become a way of life, and we all do it because it's ingrained in us from a very early age. When you can start to realize, though, that the thing you're doing is actually the symptom, it's the procrastination, and then you can go back and take it apart and go, now I can see that, I can do something else with it. We can go in a different direction. Understand the needs and look at what causes procrastination. Let's start to take the first steps to overcome it. Ramela, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. Phenomenal. Keep doing. If you do that and you never, you know, never speak to me ever again, that will be a sufficient shift of the needle to help, you know, transform the work that you're doing in the life that you're living. Amazing. What questions? Because this is just, like I say, this is now we're getting to we're boiling this down. Now we're starting to understand where the procrastination comes from. Tomorrow, we're going to take it apart again, even further, and create a framework to move beyond it. Hope this is useful. Questions. What questions have you got for me today about this and about procrastination, about some of the stuff that's coming up for you? What questions have you got for me? And while we're doing that, there is going to be a link in the chat box for tomorrow's session. If you have not registered for tomorrow's session, now is the time to register for tomorrow's session. Also, if you know someone else that needs to be hearing this content, that needs some support about the work they're doing, improving how they're working as a leader or in a business, send them the link. Please share this link with, you know, for tomorrow's session with them tomorrow, and, you know, let them know what you learned. Share your learning, compound your learning by teaching it to somebody else, and get them to come along and experience this as well. That would be super useful, super amazing. So 2 things. 1, register for tomorrow. 2, copy the link and send it to 5 friends. That would be amazing. The questions are quiet. Either that or the questions are going to be very long when they actually come through. I'm getting worried. Other thing, look, I wanted to let you know as well, I have finally received my first copy of the coaching cards. So I know there have been lots of copies of these, packets of the Grow coaching cards, the mental health coaching cards, the leadership coaching, time management, category management. All these are phenomenal assets that we've built, these coaching decks to help you. I finally received mine. So those of you that have ordered, they will be on your doormat either today or tomorrow. Fingers crossed, they're on their way soon. And in these decks of cards, it is a series of questions that you can sit down and coach yourself or coach other people with. Phenomenally powerful. Got mine today. Great, Karen. Wonderful. Happy to hear. And you get a series of questions that are going to take you through each of these models that are going to support you being the best version of you in the work you do. And it's like having me in your office with you at a fraction of the price. So if you haven't got your deck of cards with your questions, you've got the Grow coaching model, you've got the leadership model, EVOT, you've also got the mental health deck. So if you want to have more robust mental health conversations with your team, there is a deck of cards that's going to help you do that. From my experiences of working with my own mental health, suffering with workplace depression and anxiety, working with people that have PTSD and anxiety themselves. It's really important. These conversations, they're built on experience. It's not just a series of questions. This comes with 23 years of experience, 10 years of leadership development packed into one small deck to help you do incredible work with your people. Yes, phenomenal. There is also a link to procrastination. There is an article. We've got several articles on the Making Business Matter website around procrastination. So if you want more help around this, there's some documents there. There's some more information there as well that's going to support you. When I understand, question coming, good. When I understand where I am on the model and the name, understand the symptoms, excuses, what's next first step? And that, Colin, is all about tomorrow's session. The first step you've already taken, through these elements is becoming aware of it and admitting it, and acknowledging it. It's not something to be ashamed about. It's not, oh, I'm a procrastinator, I can't make decisions. No, that's called, getting lost in the emotion. I am a procrastinator. It's a label. Labels are Velcroed, not super glue. You can change that at any time. So, well, part of my brain procrastinates because it keeps me safe. Am I a procrastinator? No. I'm someone that sees that my brain does that. Therefore, I can create enough space and enough distance to then put some steps in place and take action. What's the reason yesterday that I asked you that question? What's the one smallest action you can take for the biggest possible impact? Because that then creates an answer that gives you something to focus on to take that. How many people here wrote that action down and took action yesterday based on that one small question that I asked? And I know the answer because I saw several responses come through. So the first thing is seeing it, hearing the words that you're using which are holding you back. So as the question that was asked me, what are you putting your energy into that is actually holding you back? And one of those things will be procrastinating. When you can hear the excuse for what it is, then you can say, okay, well, actually, what's my need here? Where on this model? Oh, it's my need for certainty. Okay, well, actually, I need to do something that makes me feel a bit uncomfortable. I need to do something that's going to be a little bit uncertain because I'm going to do something different. Okay, we'll move on to that. What fear is holding me back? Oh, it's the fear of not enough. And it's coming up like this in this excuse. Okay, great. What can I do differently? What else could I do right now that's going to make a difference? What else can I do right now that's going to impact somebody else? Now, action causes traction. The moment you take one step, you're already compelled to take another. Yeah? You're already starting to get the impetus to keep going. Why? Because you've just broken the seal. You just like, okay, well, actually, that step was really easy. Oh, maybe I can take another one. What's the next smallest action? So homework, conscious, bang on, half past, conscious of time. That thing that you said you were procrastinating about yesterday, you took one small action. I hope you took one small action on that yesterday to move it forward. Well, right now then, so what's the next smallest action you need to take in order to get that thing done? There's that thing that's either on your to-do list or that thing that you took off your to-do list because it was so embarrassing it had been there for so long, you now, fingers crossed, taken one small action. What's the next smallest action you can take to move that forward? Thank you very much for today. Really appreciate sharing this. It's phenomenal. It's fun. I love sharing this content because this is, this was what gets me fired up. I love giving this to other people. Tomorrow's session, we're going to break down the fears. I'm going to show you how it turns up in your life, why it turns up, and also give you a 3-step model that's going to help you to enjoy the process of having some procrastination in your life, but at the same time not getting stuck in it. Okay, really important. Going to help you do this. Final shout for me: virtual classrooms. If you know 2 things, if you know someone else that would benefit from being in these sessions with me, get them here, share the link with them. Please tell them about these sticky learning lunches with me, Nathan Simmonds. Also, if you have a team, if you have a business, if you have peers that will benefit from a session like this, a private session where we get to talk about, deliver, exchange ideas, and I can teach some of this content and coach people through their procrastination, through their communication, through their coaching, and it's going to help them get a better result, then there is the link there for the virtual classrooms. This shows a full list of all the things that we do, all the ways that we can help, and all the ways that we can, give to you to benefit. Okay, I hope this is useful, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. So everyone, have a fantastic rest of your day. I look forward to seeing you then, and